Iron Maiden are an English heavy metal band. They are one of the most popular representatives of the genre, and especially of the new wave of British heavy metal, for more than 40 years with sales of over 130 million copies. Iron Maiden were formed on December 25, 1975 by bassist and primary songwriter Steve Harris. Harris took the band's name from a film adaptation of Alexander Dumas' novel The Man in the Iron Mask, as the title was reminiscent of the medieval torture device called an Iron Maiden. In the early years, the band's lineup was constantly changing. One of the singers who left Iron Maiden, Dennis Wilcott, brought guitarist Dave Murray to the band, who remains with the band to this day. After constant changes in the positions of second guitarist, drummer, and vocalist, with the lineup of Steve Harris on bass, Dave Murray and Dennis Stratton on guitars, Clive Barr on drums and Paul Dano on vocals, they signed a contract with the record company EMI in December 1979. In 1980, the band's debut album, titled Iron Maiden, was released and their fame spread. The album reached number 4 on the British charts. The following year, with guitarist Adrian Smith replacing Dennis Stratton, their second album, Killers, was released, based largely on material they had written before the release of their debut. Singer Paul Dano's declining performance, due to drug use that had even affected his voice, led to his dismissal midway through the year. The album was a commercial success, selling nearly 5 million copies to date. His place was taken by former Samson singer Bruce Dickinson, constituting the most significant change in the group's history. The new composition, released in 1982, under the title The Number of the Beast, is one of the top heavy metal albums of all time. Without a record label advance, the album cost £28,000 British and within 6 months sold more than 1.5 million copies. In 1982, drummer Clive Barr was fired by Steve Harris. He was replaced by Nico McBrain, whose addition would be the last to the band in the early years of its existence. Just the following year, he released the equally successful Peace of Mind, with the hits The Trooper and Flight of Icarus, which climbed into the British top 20. Iron Maiden continued to tirelessly compose new songs, and in 1984 they released Powerslave. The band's fifth album sold over 4 million copies in the first year after its premiere, while it has now exceeded 5.5 million and is the third most commercially successful after the previous two. In October 1985, the live recording Live After Death was released, reaching number 2 in the UK charts. This album is considered one of the best live albums of its kind. In 1986, the album Somewhere in Time was released, which became the band's fifth album to reach the British top 5. 2 years later, the album Seventh Son of a Seventh Son was released, which reached number 1 in the British charts, a sign of the great appeal that the band had acquired. In 1990, guitarist Adrian Smith left the band due to differences with bassist Steve Harris. He was replaced by Janet Gersh, former Gillan guitarist. The same year, No Prayer for the Dying was released, with Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter becoming the band's first single to reach number 1 on the UK charts. In 1992, the album Fear of the Dark was released with the title track, Be Quick or Be Dead, From Here to Eternity, and Wasting Love being the album's singles. In 1993, singer Bruce Dickinson announced his departure from Iron Maiden to focus on his solo career. During his farewell tour, the albums A Real Live One and A Real Dead One were recorded. Dickinson was replaced by Blaze Bayley, a former member of Wolfsbane, who opened for Iron Maiden in 1990. In 1995, they released the album The X Factor, which reached its lowest position in the British charts since The Killers in 1981. In September 1996, the band released the double compilation Best of the Beast, featuring a new song, Virus. In 1998, the band's less successful album, Virtual 11, was released, reaching only number 16 in the UK. In 1999, Bayley left the band and the return of Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith marked the beginning of a new era for Iron Maiden. Janet Gersh remained in the band, so the new lineup consisted of Bruce Dickinson, Steve Harris, Nico McBrain, Dave Murray, Janet Gersh and Adrian Smith. In 2000, the first album after the return of Dickinson and Smith was released, entitled Brave New World, which received a warm response from the public. Iron Maiden continued to be active, and on September 8, 2003 they released Dance of Death, which peaked at number 2 in the UK charts. In 2005, the band released Iron Maiden's 14th album, titled A Matter of Life and Death. The band's 15th album, titled The Final Frontier, was released in 2010. The album was a huge success, reaching #1 on the charts in 28 countries. In June 2015, it was announced that the band's 16th album, titled The Book of Souls, would be released on September 4th of that year. On July 19, 2021, Iron Maiden announced that their 17th album, Senjutsu, would be released on September 3, 2021, which reached the top of sales charts in 27 countries. After the tour concluded in Sao Paulo in December 2024, McBrain retired from touring, but remained a member of Iron Maiden. British Lion drummer Simon Dawson was announced as his replacement on the tour. The band has released 41 albums, including 17 studio albums, 13 live albums, 4 EPs, and 7 compilations. They have also released 47 singles and 20 video albums, as well as 2 video games. Iron Maiden's lyrics cover topics such as history, literature, war, mythology, dark fantasy, science fiction, society, and religion. The band has included its signature mascot, Eddie, on the covers of nearly all of its releases. In 2026, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.